Okay, this is just going to be a quick demo of the contact tracing app that I built in PowerApps for the company I work for. For this demo, I've actually removed all of the pieces related to that company. So there was a logo here and some references here that I've just replaced with company and URL, etc. Anyway, if we just look into it, in New Zealand we had 4 alert levels, and instead of having to update those in the app and republish it each time that changed, I've created a SharePoint list, and anyone with access to it could come into here, change that alert level on the day that it was changing or the night before, and then when the app was refreshed or opened on the phone, the new alert level was represented. And one of the nice things was that the government website URL, they were just updating this value here from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, so that was also dynamically updated. But since we've come down to alert level 1, they've removed the old alert level pages. But if I change that alert level back to 1, that link will work. That's handy. I'm pulling in the currently logged in person's photo and name and locations that they're currently logged into. I've just got a couple here that I'm using for testing. The 2 main pieces of the app were these cards here to scan a QR code or to check in manually. In New Zealand, all of the businesses and shops were posting QR codes. We had government issued QR codes, but we also had some other QR codes that would have been generated by all sorts of other companies. I'll just go through a manual check-in here because I'm on my PC, so I can't actually use the camera QR code check-in. Anyway, for a manual check-in, you just needed to put in a place, and that was enough, but we'll add a little bit more here. And I included the ability to add any people that you may be visiting or that you would be in contact with. Maybe you had someone coming and visiting you at your place of business, at your office, so you could add their name in here. Or perhaps there were a couple of people. And check in, which would give you confirmation. If you were using a phone, it would pull in the GPS coordinates and show you a map here. Now you can see I'm currently checked into 3 locations, and those can be seen either in the checkout page or the history, or at the bottom of each screen I've included just a quick pop-up to see where you're currently checked in, and from here you can perform a checkout, which I'll do for the supermarket. And now I've checked out of there and I'm back to only checked in 2 locations. If I look at the checkout screen, I can see those 2 locations that I'm checked into, and if I want to, I can perform multi-checkout. Now I'm checked into 0 locations, and if I look on here, I'm not checked in anywhere. If I look at the history screen, you can see there's our check-in that we did manually to the hospital, and the supermarket that I just checked out of, and the KFC that I just checked out of. If you click on any of these, it'll just give you some more information about that event. The supermarket check-in was one that I used on my phone, so I've got the GPS coordinates, which is pulled in this map. Clicking on that map will load it into Google, and you can see that in Google Maps. Also on the history screen, you can email yourself a list of all the details that includes every piece of information to yourself. For scanning a QR code, I've created a test button, and that has automatically been filled in with a QR code that matches one of the QR codes in this other SharePoint list where I'm storing all of the QR code results. So these long ones here, NZ COVID Tracer, were the government issued QR codes. So you can see this one relates to Auckland Museum, this one relates to Northland Orthopaedic. The one that I'm using for testing here is for the cafe in Whangarei. So you'll see it's this app COVID Register. Here are some others, QR code, CheckIns, Zomato, but we'll look for this COVID Register one when I run this test, because I'm just pushing a notify here, QR scanned in as COVID Register. And you can see the place field and city field have automatically been populated because it pulled in from the QR location SharePoint list this line here. So we've got the cafe name and the city location. Check in there, say I'm not visiting anyone. Now I'm checked into one location again. Shows there. I'll just jump back to the same app, but this is just in the PowerApp Studio, because when you click scan QR code from the PowerApp Studio, it actually uses QR result of sample value. And now what happens in the app is, because it couldn't find a value of sample value in the QR in the SharePoint list QR code locations, it's prompted the user to add this as a new location. If we decided not to, we just come back to the check-in screen. But let's run this. And what's great about this is it allows all of the users of the app to crowdsource all of the other QR code locations, which is how we've managed to get locations such as the Auckland Museum, because one of the employees at this company has scanned the Auckland Museum QR code and added in the place name and city location themselves, which is great because it means if anyone else who was using the same app went and visited the Auckland Museum, when they sign in, it's automatically going to pull in the Auckland Museum information. For this one, we'll make our own location. Now when I click scan QR code, it's going to pull in the value of sample value, but because sample value has been now added to the QR code location SharePoint list, which we should see refresh. There it is. That means that all of these fields are automatically populated when that QR code is scanned. Each check-in is captured in another SharePoint list with a bunch of extra information. So we're grabbing whether or not the check-in was from a QR code or if it was a manual check-in. Of course, all the fields for the locations, contact persons. The reason, this is just generated automatically based on whether the person was using a mobile phone or a desktop device to check in. The check-in times, check-out times, again, reasons automatically generated. Did they check out from the main screen or did they check out using the showing current check-ins, etc. And just a bunch of IDs, string IDs, and values for the check-ins so that I can get around delegation issues within the admin app, which I can show you just briefly now. I won't go into it too much. But again, I've removed some logos and just replaced the company name. But on the left here would be all the company offices and where people have checked in. This particular company has a lot of offices around New Zealand. But for this particular test, it's only, I've only checked in to 2 locations, and click on each would filter them. First I should refresh that because of my testing. So to click on each would filter those and remove that filter, of course, and then click on each would give you more information if there was a map associated. So if I look at all of my check-ins that match this particular date period, I can see here, because this icon means that there is map information or GPS coordinates that displays here. And other filters can be used, such as name lookups, place lookups. This is a drop down of all of the locations that people have visited using the app. This fires off a Power Automate flow and just pulls back current count of check-ins that have occurred. There's also a flow running each night to purge out old data. This would allow you to push or send a push notification to all of the people listed in your current filter. You'd probably do that by only showing checked-in names. And this will allow you to export to a CSV. So if we click on that, generate a CSV file with all of the details. That's a quick look at the admin side. And that's really the quick run through of it. Seemed to work really, really well for us. But now that we're down to alert level 1, it's not really required in New Zealand. But it was great. It only took 2 days to spin up. It's the great power of PowerApps.